What is in your notebook that I'm not asking you about? There's always something. Let's find it. What do we got?
I mean, I think I think one of the things that's interesting is kind of how the names of the coaches that I think will be in the cycle for next year. You're already starting to hear like, okay, like what's going to happen with Belichick? What's going to happen with Mike Vrabel? And I think the Jets firing Saleh kind of ramps that up a little bit. And
he's in Green Bay right now.
Yeah. And
hanging out, watching the offense for his buddy, who he's crashing with, Matt LaFleur.
Yeah, and he's very close. And I think it's a unique situation because he's very close to their defensive coordinator too, Jeff Hafley, which I don't know that would work the same way if you didn't have that relationship, because
of course
now all of a sudden you've got like this defensive coach coming in, but his role is actually similar to Vrabel's in Cleveland, where he's actually working with the offense. And so they're having him help to troubleshoot stuff and give kind of a defensive perspective to the offensive coaches on what they're doing. I think it's smart. I mean, I think Matt LaFleur is one of the best. I mean, I don't know how he hasn't won a Coach of the Year yet, but the things he's accomplished, managing the Rodgers thing for as long as he did, and then having Love ready to go, like he's gotten so many things right.
He's 2-0 with Malik Willis.
He's done an unbelievable job.
I mean, that's what he did.
Yeah.
Love goes down. All right, we'll start Malik Willis.
Yeah.
We'll go 2-0.
Yeah. I'd say the other thing is just kind of like, I'm really fascinated to see where the quarterback market goes next year. Sam's obviously played well, and we'll see what happens with Sam and the Vikings, but I think they've sort of tabled that and said, like, let's hope we have a good problem at the end of the year.
Of course.
And then, like Stafford here, like where are the Rams at the end of the year? And are they all in on Matthew again? Because if you look at the way that contract's set up, and it's fascinating because, like there have been rumblings about him wanting a new contract going back to the end of last year. So in January, like other teams had sort of heard like, Stafford's going to push for more money, a new deal. He winds up getting a $5 million raise. And so he's making 36 rather than 31 this year. And then there's a $4 million roster bonus is fully guaranteed at the beginning of next year and no guaranteed money after that. So there's sort of this decision point coming after the year on Stafford where, I mean, again, like we talk about the next two games being really important, and they are, and how they approach the trade deadline. I think the way the rest of the year goes, like, are they, when they get to 2025, going to be the all-in Rams again, or are they going to be sort of retooling around the group of first and second year players, which is really impressive? Your Pukas, your Byron Youngs, your Kobe Turners, Braden Fisk, Jared Verse. Like, are you going to be rebuilding around those guys then?
But what about Rodgers too, right? I mean, because you would imagine Devante Adams in their conversations offline that they apparently were having for weeks.
Yeah.
That Adams at one point would have to ask Rodgers, how long you're going to continue to play, right?
Right.
I mean, it wouldn't be just like, I need my exit visa from Vegas for at least the next 3 months,
right?
You would think.
And Devante's situation is interesting because his contract, he's due $36 million next year, non-guaranteed. So you'd think he's not playing on that contract, whether it's for the Jets or anybody else. So do the Jets keep him past this year? I think obviously that ties to whether or not they're keeping Aaron. And if they keep Aaron and Devante, what does that mean for other receivers in the roster? It's just, there's a lot of moving parts with the Jets right now. And
2-5, man. They were 2-1 for the first time since 2015, and then we found out why that they hadn't gone 2-1 for in 10 years, because then they lose every game after that, 4 in a row, going to New England, and now it's every week. It's kind of like it's a reset. It's just like, okay, we're gonna go every week. It's a reset. We're going to London, and we're gonna try and see what we can do there, and and then it's now a reset with Devante Adams, who then, after that loss in Pittsburgh, he apparently gave an impassioned speech like, I'm new here and I don't see the urgency. And Rodgers said it's the best speech he's heard in 20 years.
Yeah.
And then now it's a reset there with Hassan Reddick helping reset it. And it's just like,
it just feels like everything's like sort of haphazard. I think that's what you're getting at. Like, where it's like the firing of the coach, the questioning that came from the locker room over firing Robert Saleh. And look, the record wasn't good, right? But if you're one of those players, the question you're asking is, how is this going to help us right now? Our strength is our defense. You're taking the architect of the defense out of the equation. You're taking a defensive coordinator who's done a really good job in Jeff Ulbrich, and now you're spreading him thin, right? Meanwhile, you're making the change in offense that Saleh was going to make anyway. So you got your pound of flesh, but where does that actually help us this year? then they lose a game. Up until that point, they had not made a hard offer up until the point where they fired Saul, they had not made a hard offer for Devante Adams. All of a sudden now they're willing to give up a 3 that turns into a 2 after they fire Saleh. So now you pull that other lever. That doesn't really work. Now Hassan Reddick is coming back in. It's like eventually you can't keep pushing buttons. You know what I mean? Eventually there needs to be the foundation of something. And that's sort of where I'm at with them is like, all right, like they've had so many opportunities now to kind of put their foot in the ground and turn this around, and it hasn't happened, and it didn't look very good on Sunday night against the Steelers.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku Channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.